Okay, remember unit rate, rate of change, slope, those all mean the exact same thing? Well, now y-intercept and initial value all mean the exact same thing. Initial value, where we start, right? Initial value. What is the value when you start doing something? That is your y-intercept, okay? So, what is the initial value? Again, the letter that represents our initial value is b, so we want to find b for all of these equations. And to throw in some fun, we are also going to find the slope of all of these equations as well, just because we are experts at it. So b, or my y-intercept for this first equation, is going to be 3. The number without the variable when y is isolated. The constant. The number in front of x when y is isolated is my slope, which is 2. Second equation. The constant in this equation is going to be a -2. Remember, minus means negative. They are the exact same. And my slope, or my coefficient of x, is 3. My third equation gets a little bit trickier. We have to look for the number that does not have the x, the constant. Constant means there's no variable attached to it. That, in this case, is going to be a +3. I just underlined it right there. Though it's in reverse order, which is fine, you just need to know that the number without the variable is my y-intercept, and then the coefficient, the number in front of x, is my slope. And for the last and final equation, my y-intercept is 2, and my slope is -3. Circle the equation with the initial value of -4. Initial value and y-intercept mean the same thing. For the first equation, y-intercept is 5. My initial value is 5. No good. Second equation, initial value is -4. The number without the variable, the constant. So that one will work. This last one, my initial value is 5. The y-intercept is 5. Let's start to combine them all. Here we go. What is the rate of change of the line? Rate of change of this line. And these dots aren't really nice dots. So here I'm going to look and find my own points. Here and here. And the coordinates 2, 2. And remember, each coordinate has one x and one y. And the right coordinate is 4, 10, 4. And remember, 10 is my x, 4 is my y. So for my slope, it's change in y over change in x. I get 2/8, which is 1/4. Here, rise over run, I make my slope triangle. I went up 2 because I'm paying attention to my intervals. Okay, remember to pay close attention to intervals. We all make mistakes, that is fine. Even your math teacher. And then here I went 2, 4, 6, 8 to the right. So my slope there, rise over run, which reduces to 1/4. So the rate of change of the line is 1/4, which is also my slope of the line. My y-intercept of this line looks like it's just below 2. We'll say it is 1, just for the fun of it. Initial value will also be the same thing. So what is the rule of the line? So rule means equation. Hopefully we've been able to piece together that we have our equation y equals mx plus b. Now we want to find the actual equation. We know what m is. We said m equals 1/4. So I'm going to take that m out, and in its place, I'm going to substitute m with what m equals, which is 1/4. And then I'm going to do the same thing for b, or my initial value y-intercept. There's my rule to this line. Y equals 1/4 x plus 1. What is the rate of change of the graph? And what is the initial value of the graph? Rate of change means slope. which is m. Initial value means y-intercept, which is b. So here I have the coordinates 0, 8, and each coordinate has 1x and 1y. And here I have a nice point with the coordinates 4, 0. Each coordinate has 1x and 1y. Now to find my slope, I do change in y over change in x. 8 divided by -4 equals -2, or we have our slope triangle here where I went down 8 paying attention to my intervals, and I went to the right 4 paying attention to my intervals, which is rise over run, when reduced equals -2. My y-intercept of the graph, y-intercept, there's where that blue line crosses my y-axis, and looking at my intervals, that is at 8. So if I were asked, which I wasn't, but I'm going to ask now, what the rule of this line is, all I need are my m and my b. So I will substitute m in front of my x there, and then my y-intercept of 8, so that would be my rule. How high off the ground is the platform? That is my initial value. So what is my initial value? What is my y-intercept of this graph? Or of the equation? That is 100. And that means that's your initial value. That's your starting point. That's how high off the ground. This zip line, let's say this were a zip line, it starts 100 feet off the ground. So before you start zip lining or going down, you will be 100 feet off the ground. So the function d equals 125 plus 80n models the amount of money in dollars the zipline ticket cashier has in her cash register after selling n amount of tickets. How much money did the cashier have in the register before any tickets were sold? So this is how much did they start with at the beginning of the day. Right when they opened, how much money was in the register? That is our initial value. Another word for initial value, y-intercept, or b. What is the initial value or y-intercept of the equation? Two ways we can do this. One, how much money was in the register when 0 tickets were sold? 0 times 8 is 0. 125 plus 8 is 125. Or you can look at the equation and see that the number without the variable, the constant, is 125. So you should know that's our y-intercept. Y-intercept also means initial value. So we started with $125 in the register before any tickets were sold, because we know that because 125 is our initial value, because it is the constant in the equation. So true or false, the initial value and y-intercept mean the same thing, and the same letter, b, represents both. This is true.